President Donald Trump's suggestion to purchase Greenland was a response to increasing geopolitical competition in the Arctic, particularly from China. Trump's interest wasn't just in Greenland's size or natural resources, it was driven by the island's strategic location. As the Arctic ice melts and new shipping routes open, the region is becoming an increasingly important geopolitical theater. Countries with a presence in the Arctic stand to gain economically, militarily, and politically. Greenland's position between North America and Europe is key to global shipping and military operations. Trump's proposal to buy Greenland was quickly rejected by both Denmark and Greenland's local government. Despite this, his comments highlighted the United States' long-standing interest in Greenland's security and resource potential. For the U.S., Greenland is not just land. It is seen as a critical gateway to the Arctic, offering access to vital sea routes, military positioning, and natural resources. As the Arctic becomes a focal point for global competition, the U.S. cannot afford to lose influence over Greenland, especially with China increasing its presence in the region. The U.S. views Greenland as essential to its defense infrastructure, particularly in relation to Russia's growing influence in the Arctic and China's expansionist ambitions. Historically, the U.S. has maintained military bases in Greenland, including Thule Air Base, which plays a vital role in missile defense and strategic operations. The idea of China gaining a stronger foothold in Greenland, with its valuable resources and infrastructure, is a concern for the U.S., which explains Trump's rhetoric about securing Greenland for American interests. While the U.S. has focused on its strategic interests, China has taken a more direct route by investing in Greenland's natural resources. Beginning in the early 2000s, Chinese companies began eyeing Greenland's vast reserves of rare earth minerals, uranium, iron ore, and other critical materials. These resources are essential to China's goals of economic growth and technological development, particularly in electronics, renewable energy, and military technology. In 2015, China made its first major investment in Greenland with the ISA Iron Ore Project in southwestern Greenland. The Hong Kong-based General Nice Development Group, a subsidiary of the General Nice Group, acquired the project, marking China's entry into Greenland's mining industry. Though the project faced logistical and environmental challenges, it laid the groundwork for future investments. In 2016, Chinese investments in Greenland deepened with the acquisition of a 12.5% stake in Greenland Minerals, which controls the Kavanagh Field, a major rare earth and uranium deposit. Rare earth elements are vital to China's production of everything from electronics to wind turbines and military technology. This acquisition solidified China's economic presence in Greenland and underscored its strategic interest in securing control over Arctic resources. Beyond mining, China has also shown interest in Greenland's infrastructure, including port development and logistics, aimed at supporting resource extraction and transportation. This infrastructure is key for China, not only to secure resources, but also to control the flow of materials and access to the Arctic's emerging trade routes. China's economic investments have led to increased political influence in Greenland, albeit through careful diplomacy and economic leverage. While Greenland's government has been cautious about Chinese investments due to concerns over environmental impact and sovereignty, the growing reliance on foreign investment has made it difficult to reject China's proposals. Investments have provided essential capital for infrastructure projects and mining ventures that are vital for Greenland's economic development. The potential for job growth and increased revenue makes it challenging for local politicians to shut out foreign capital, especially from a powerful nation like China. China's expanding influence in Greenland is part of a broader strategy to increase its presence in the Arctic. As the region becomes more accessible due to climate change, new shipping routes are opening that drastically reduce travel time between Asia, Europe, and North America. Greenland's strategic location makes it a key point for these new shipping lanes, which China sees as critical to its future economic development. In conclusion, as global competition intensifies in the Arctic, both the US and China have vested interests in Greenland's strategic resources and position. While the US has focused on military and geopolitical control, China's approach has centered on economic investment, with the aim of gaining both resource control and influence over emerging Arctic trade routes. China is investing heavily in Greenland's infrastructure as part of a broader strategy to control, or at least influence, the Arctic's emerging trade routes. These routes, which are becoming increasingly accessible as Arctic ice melts, could play a key role in China's Belt and Road Initiative, a global strategy aimed at expanding trade and influence through infrastructure projects and economic partnerships. China's influence in Greenland isn't limited to economic investments. It extends into military and strategic realms as well. While there are no formal Chinese military bases in Greenland, the region's strategic importance cannot be overstated. As the Arctic becomes more militarized, the United States is likely to see any Chinese involvement in Greenland as a challenge to its security interests in the region. Control over Arctic shipping routes and access to key resources give China significant leverage in global geopolitics. Greenland's geographic location between North America and Europe makes it an important player in the future of Arctic trade. As climate change opens up new shipping routes, countries with Arctic claims will control access to these paths. For China, securing a stake in Greenland is not only about resources, it's about shaping the future of Arctic trade and exerting influence over the region's economic and geopolitical dynamics. Greenland's natural resources are also a major draw. The island is rich in rare earth elements, which are crucial for China's manufacturing sector, especially for electronics, wind turbines, and military technology. With vast deposits of uranium, iron ore, and other minerals, Greenland provides China with an opportunity to ensure a steady supply of these essential resources as global demand rises. By investing in Greenland's mining projects and infrastructure, China is simultaneously bolstering its geopolitical position in the Arctic. This strategy is part of China's broader efforts to assert itself as a dominant global power. As other major powers, especially the US and Russia, scramble to secure their positions in the Arctic, China is positioning itself as a key player through its investments in Greenland. As China's influence in the region grows, it is likely to lead to increased tensions with The United States, recognizing Greenland's strategic significance, has voiced concerns about China's growing presence in the Arctic. Former President Trump's proposal to purchase Greenland was partly a response to China's expanding economic and geopolitical footprint in the region. For the U.S., Greenland is a critical ally in both military defense and economic positioning in the Arctic, with its proximity to Thule Air Base making it essential for monitoring Russian and Chinese military activities. The U.S. has also expressed concerns that Chinese investments in Greenland could lead to a stronger Chinese military or strategic presence in the Arctic. Trump's administration worked to counter China's reach by strengthening relationships with Greenland and Denmark, though the failure of the Greenland purchase proposal highlighted the limits of U.S. influence in the region. In conclusion, China's growing investments in Greenland reflect its broader strategy of securing critical resources, asserting control over emerging trade routes, and expanding its geopolitical footprint in the Arctic. These investments have positioned China as a dominant force in Greenland, with significant implications for global power dynamics. Meanwhile, the United States, recognizing Greenland's strategic importance, has ramped up military and diplomatic efforts to respond to China's rising influence. As competition in the Arctic intensifies, Greenland will remain a key battleground for global powers, whether through economic influence, military positioning, or control over vital resources. China's expanding presence in Greenland will play a pivotal role in shaping the future of the Arctic and global geopolitics.